forward to going through a communication skills workshop today. And in this communication skills workshop, I will be firstly setting the context about the communication skills workshop being a part of a larger journey, and the larger journey that I'm going to talk about is a professional growth plan. Now, this is a professional development, or it's a comprehensive professional development for high potential young professionals for up to around 10 years of work ex. Now, when you join this professional growth club, you go through 11 pillars of professional growth. And when I say 11 pillars of professional growth, it means that we take this learning as a journey rather than an event. Now, we believe that young professionals need to build up these 11 pillars to be more comprehensive in their growth, be able to give value to the organization, value to their teams, and value to themselves. So from that context, what we believe is that the journey must start with building the right attitude. And what's the right attitude? Building a positive attitude. Now, to build a positive attitude, there are two workshops that we have given in this Professional Growth Academy to you. The first is building self-confidence. Success is not possible unless one is self-confident of who he is, self-confident of what his strengths are, self-confident also knowing that he can't be good at everything. So that awareness that I am good at something and I must tap into that. At the same time, there are certain other skills that I may not be good at, but that does not define me to be a failure. So how do you build your self-confidence is the first workshop that we would suggest people to go through. The second is keeping yourself and others around you in a state of motivation. Now that builds a positive attitude. The next step we have is how do you build your unique reputation? So now this is a paradox, right? In one stage, we need to know what our uniqueness is, and we must build our uniqueness. So somebody told me, I want to be like you. I said, don't try to be like me. Try to be the best version of yourself. Because each one of us is unique in their background, unique in their strengths, unique in their passions. So the first is being unique so that you stand out distinctly in front of other people. Having said that, you must also be able to have certain professional ways of behaviors which are standard norms in the organization to be seen as a professional. So here, while you are unique, one part of it, the second is you must follow some standards in behaviors, in the manner in which you interact with people and you carry yourself. So that's what will make you unique, but it will also make you ensure that you follow the workplace civility. So there are two workshops against under it. Then any person for his success should be time efficient. And each of the growth areas, we have put two workshops under it. In time efficiency, you need to firstly avoid procrastination. Second, you need to be able to manage your time well. So again, two workshops under being time efficient. From there, we believe we need to have certain foundational communication skills. What are these foundational communication skills? Telephonic skills or telephone etiquettes and email etiquettes. But that's not all. After these foundational communication skills, you need to move to advanced communication skills. And today's workshop on communication skills of selling an idea comes under this gambit. Also, while you should be able to express your idea in the most relevant way so that people are able to accept it and you can influence people to accept it is the first element of advanced communication skills that you must follow. Having said that, you should also have the second one, which is presentation skills. So how do you present in front of a group? How do you structure that presentation? What should be your body language be? How should you be able to take difficult questions? All come under the gambit of advanced communication skills. From there, we believe you need to have good problem solving and decision making skills. From that, that's the sixth pillar that we talk about. The seventh is you should be result oriented. So while you should be able to handle people and manage people and build relationships with people and manage yourself, you should also be able to get results. So under results, we have got two elements. One is building your influence, because results cannot happen without us collaborating with people. And again, under this, we have got managing small projects. So do you have the basic project management skills or not? Because when you follow a process, there is consistency of results that takes place. So that comes under our pillar, seventh pillar. The eighth pillar is building a team. And I won't go much on that. The ninth pillar is leading teams. The 10th pillar is managing difficult situations. And the 11th pillar is about increasing team effectiveness. So 11 pillars of growth to be a successful professional. Under each pillar, 2 workshops, a total of 22 workshops. And then we have given you 5 to 6 bonuses on some advanced workshops, which are really coming to the area of managerial effectiveness. And these are John Maxwell workshops. So the entire Professional Growth Club provide you a 11th month journey. And I would say an incremental journey, which you can take month on month to truly become a holistic and well-rounded personality. So with that context, let me get to the content of what we are going to do today. So my bold promise is very simply this, that the Professional Growth Club has got elements in it, or a combination of elements which are not available in any online academy at all. So what makes it completely unique is, the first thing is, we are giving a learning journey approach and not a learning event approach. So there's an entire learning journey which spans 11 months. And in bite-sized sizes, you are kind of chipping away on your rough edges to make them smooth so that you become well-rounded in your personal growth. So that's the first element. The second element is, all workshops have been created for Indian professionals. See, a lot of international stuff that you see, you don't connect with it. Why? Because it is made from a context of an environment or a culture which is not ours. So I, having worked with 150 plus Indian companies, be it MNCs or small companies, we know what is the environment Indian professionals are working on. So the entire contextualization and curation of these workshops have been done from an Indian context. The third element, which is again, as I said, a combination of all of them will make this unique, is that all online workshops are supported by, and these are, when I say online, recorded workshops are supported by live workshops like the one I'm giving. So we have known this, and you also know this. Whenever you give your young professionals in your company a lot of recorded workshops or academy to see, very, very few people see it. Right? Now, what we want is, we want to fast track that and ensure that the percentage of people who go through the journey are much more than they would do on their own. And what do they need for it? The first is, we start off by giving a 60-minute live workshop like the one I'm going to give today on communication skills, which gives an overview of what this entire content is all about and what are the steps you need to take when you go through that workshop in your own time. So there's a quick start. We call it quick start live workshops, which enable people to really get excited about what they have and then take the journey on their own after that. Also, we have a 30 minutes question answer session in certain areas which the person possibly tried out and wasn't successful. So there is a live interaction that is going to take place, which is going to be amazing. The next element that is completely different from most workshops is, we don't show PowerPoint slides with a voiceover, but we have got very high quality Netflix style of videos that we have created for you. So there are people that I'm speaking there are images, high quality images which are coming, and you'll see the kind of quality of images, videos are coming behind, animations are happening. So whenever there's a case study, it's through an animation that is happening. So it is exciting to see those videos, and it's not a boring, you're kind of struggling to go through it because you see no face, you see nothing exciting, you just see PowerPoints, bullet points coming one after another, and there's somebody whom you don't even know talking to you about it. So that's again unique about Professional Growth Club. Also, every single workshop that we have created is application based. So after going through a bite-sized module of 5 to 6 minutes, you are made to do an activity which connects the learning to your real life irrespective of the role, or I would say in conjunction with the role and responsibilities you have and the job that you are doing. It could even be an entrepreneur, it could be a person who's on his own, it could be a person who's in a multinational company, it could be a person in a small company, but all the learnings are then converted to individualization of application. So that is what we have. You create a monthly action plan based on your specific need. Also, we don't make you go through this alone. There's a community of learners. So and normally we would like to do this with organizations, where organizations give us 100 high profile of theirs. All 100 high profiles are going to have a closed community created for them, so that when they go through this learning spree, they don't feel alone in it. They have interaction among each other, and they also share a lot of things, both successes, failures, struggles, through this community. And then we have an instructor who would also support them in these interactions that are taking place. Also, at the end of it, after the participants, the learners, the high potential of your organization start applying this and start getting results, we give them a certificate of application month on month. So it's not about certificate of participation. Everybody can participate. We want the participation to be converted to application. So this all elements, as I said, the combination of these elements makes Professional Growth Club completely unique to anything that is available in the market today. Now, once you go there, you get into Professional Growth Club, you find all your workshops there, you create your own monthly learning plan, right? So that is available to you. You go to the first workshop. Let's say now we are going to communication skills workshop, how to sell an idea. So you go there, you have everything given to you in terms of videos. So you can just kind of scroll down, go to the introduction video. Once you go to the introduction video, you are able to download 4 documents which are going to support you. The first document is a flyer which gives you the workshop details as to what are the learning benefits of this workshop. What are the outcomes that you can expect? Why is this competency important to you? So even before you jump into the content, you are getting a comprehensive overview of why this competency is important. Then you have got this unique participant manual which can be downloaded. What's unique about it is that every single word in the videos that we are going to talk about, that you're going to hear, is part and parcel. The entire transcript of the videos is in this manual for you. The manual also has got tools, it has got techniques, it has got formats, so that every time you finish a module, you can use this tool, technique, formats to convert your learning to your real life application. With that also, we give you a checklist, so that after you finish this workshop, you don't never need to go back again. You have those 20 points that you can apply from the learnings of this workshop. So this checklist enables you to quickly scan through what you have learned in the workshop, and more importantly, decide on which of these checklists you want to apply next week, which part of them. Okay, point number 2 and number 3. I have a meeting coming on. I have to sell an idea. I will apply these 2 next week. So you are able to, not needing to keep it in mind, but there is a checklist, which is the power of checklist, as they say, where you are able to tick what you have done hold yourself accountable for it, and then you have a weekly planner as to which day of the week, which part of the checklist you are going to apply. So there's a pre-work, there's a during workshop, and there's a post-workshop documents all given to you right in the introduction phase. Now the communication skills workshop, selling an idea, has few key takeaways. Now, whenever I want to sell my idea, right, I need to do it in a manner that it excites people. And for me to be able to influence people, excite people, I need to connect with my audience. So my structuring of my message will not be the same irrespective of the audience that is in front of me, meaning that if I have to go to my finance head to be able to get some budget from him, my messaging will be completely focused on the needs of the finance head so that he's able to connect with what I'm saying vis-a-vis going to the supply chain management and getting some resources from him. So that's the first key takeaway is, how can I configure my message dependent on the audience? Also, how can I influence people to decide in favor of my idea? And please remember, here I'm not talking about manipulation. So there's a difference between influence and manipulation. Here I'm not talking about manipulation, I'm talking about influence. Also, how can I create a right structure for pitching my idea through a presentation? How can I best formulate my arguments? And for that, it's also very clear, I have to also decide and understand proactively what could be some objections that I will hear from people. So I have to be able to go through that even before I go into that room to be able to present my idea. And I have to structure my presentation and my answers to those questions in a manner which are logical, which emotionally connect with the audience, and more importantly, and most importantly, it ensures that my credibility and trust is built. Because the idea here is not to sell an idea one time. The idea is to be able to sell an idea in a manner that next time when I sell another idea, the manner in which I sold this idea increased my trust and credibility with people. And that is why my reputation in the organization is getting better. So that's the outcome of what we'll go through today. So again, as I said, it's going to be an overview. Now there are a total of 8 modules in this workshop. So I've taken this. These are all print screens from the various videos that I have got in the workshop. So you can see what all you'll be able to get in the manner that you are getting. So these are 8 of the modules that you will be going through. Each module not more than 5 to 6 minutes. After that, after the module, the work that you need to do will be around 10 to 15 minutes. So each module around half an hour or so, both in terms of understanding the concept, learning the concept, and applying it to your daily life. So let's go through communication skills, how to sell an idea, going to introduction. It's very simple. If you can't influence your boss, you can't be successful. If you can't influence your team members or the audience in front of you, and that audience could be the management committee, you cannot be successful. So without being able to sell an idea in a manner that you can influence people positively towards that idea, without having that capability, our professional growth is going to be limited every single time. Yes or no? If you agree with it, just you can type it on the chat. Say yes, I agree with it. I need to be able to influence people towards an idea that I have in my mind, and that idea is for the greater good. It's not for my own self good. No, it's for the organizational benefit, and I should be able to sell it in a manner that people accept it. More importantly, they should start trusting me, and my credibility in the organization must grow. So the influence that you do on people will, or how well you influence people. And in fact, John Maxwell says this: leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Professional growth is influence, nothing more, nothing less. We don't only need to influence people who directly report to us, but more than that, we need to influence people who do not report to us. And our success in influencing those people is going to make or break us in terms of our professional growth. So there are two tools that we like to use. The first is known as the rhetoric triangle. And this came long time back from Socrates, who said, whenever you want to influence people, there must be three elements in it, and he called it ethos, pathos, and logos. So he says, whenever you want to sell an idea, you want to influence people, the first thing is ethos. You must build your credibility with those people. Because I could go to a client whom I'm meeting for the first time, he doesn't know me. So the first thing people will listen to you, or even start listening to you, is when they find you as a credible expert. And again, I like this word that again is used by John Maxwell so often, is they must see you as a likable expert. Likability is a very, very important factor. So the first is ethos, my own credibility. If I'm not seen as credible, if I'm not seen as an expert, if I don't have experience, right, people are not going to even start listening to me. The first day, that is why he's the first he put up is ethos. Second, he said pathos. Pathos is nothing but, now suddenly you're switching this. Till now it was me. Now you start thinking about the audience. What's in it for the audience? Why should the audience accept it? What is the benefit that will accrue to the audience? Because the fact of life is every human being is looking for his own personal benefit. So if I can structure my communication in a manner where the audience can see their benefit in accepting the idea, then my ability to influence them is going to increase. And the third, of course, is, so we said ethos, credibility. Pathos is what's in it for me as far as the audience is concerned. And logos. Logos is logic, reasoning. This is where the mental faculty comes into it. So what is the data points? What are the reasons that I've thought? What all have I thought through? What is the pros and cons? And if there are cons, and there will be cons, have I given sufficient thought to those cons to say, in my idea, however, these two elements are very critical. And for this criticality, I need to do A, B, C, and D, and that I planned for in my plan, in my implementation part. So in the overall context, ethos, pathos, and logos is what we are going to focus on whenever we want to sell an idea. It could be on a phone, it could be one-on-one, it could be on a Zoom call, in a meeting, Zoom meeting, it could be one-on-one, it could be one-on-many. So that's what we are going to go slightly more deeper. Please remember, all that I'm telling you is already with you if you would have joined the Professional Growth Club, and you know that all this content is available with you, so you don't really need to make notes on this. Okay, now let's go to the rhetorical triangle and how to be more persuasive. So as we said, there are three elements that are required on which your argument must be based. The first is you, your credibility, your audience, what's in it for them, and the context of the idea. So these three areas is what we like to go through it. And we have found the best way to get an answer to all three is have some questions that we need to answer, which will create a structure for each one of them. So let me just give a little background of a case study. And this case study is again there in this workshop that you will have recorded with you. So you are a manager of a department. You find that the team is demotivated. The reason for this demotivation is, firstly, people are not clear about their roles and responsibilities. Some people are more burdened than others. So people who are more burdened than others are demotivated. The people who are less burdened than others, they feel that they haven't been given enough responsibility, so they are also demotivated. Now, your aim is to increase this motivation, because this motivation, or as of now, this demotivation is reducing the productivity of the team and individuals of your team. So you want to reorganize your team in terms of roles and responsibilities, and maybe restructure them, their reporting structure, in a manner that the productivity of the team and individual team members increases. And when that happens, they get more motivated, and based on this motivation, your team's outcome or results will become better, which will impact the organizational outcomes. So that is what you are thinking of doing. However, there's a lacuna here. The lacuna here is that you need to be able to spend certain X amount of additional salary increments for this restructuring to take place. So it is going to need a certain amount of add-on money that needs to be salary enhancements that you need to do for some of the people. Having said that, because the productivity will increase, the bottom line will become better. So while the cost will increase, bottom line is going to get better. Now you have to sell this idea to your team. You have to sell this idea to your boss. So that's the case study that we have. So let's see how do we do it. Let's go through now thinking about you. So just think about it for a couple of seconds. What would you do in this situation when you go to your boss and your team members? So what would be your structuring different when you are kind of offering this reorganization to your team members vis-a-vis your boss? And you can again type what would be different between your own credibility when you're going and talking to your team vis-a-vis talking to your boss. What is the motive that they think you will have, right? When you say, I'm going to reorganize. And how can you avoid that wrong motive to be thought by them? Okay, so let's go through this. As I said, it's an overview. To build your credibility, you need to have three things. You need to firstly be able to express transparently your motive. See, people at times do not listen to you because of the fact that they misunderstand your motive. Right? So if I come to you and offer you something and I don't express in very clear terms why I am giving this to you, you will start thinking, and that thought may be in a manner to say, okay, if he's giving this to me now, he will ask something back in return. Right? So that motive, your motive should be honorable. So you should be able to express your motive. If I go to my team member, say I want to do reorganization, boom. The first thing they will think, oh my God, who's going to lose the job? My God, who's going to report to whom? And is my salary in question mark? So thousands of things will come in their mind if you do not openly tell them what your motive are and why are you doing it. And it has again to be for the larger good and also for the good of the people. So the first is motive. Second is experience and expertise. How much of experience and expertise do you have in having created that structure? And it is not necessary that every time you may have that experience. I could very well have taken support of the HR team. And when I go to my boss and say, sir, I thought of a restructuring. And again, I didn't sit alone myself. I first created that restructure, went to the HR. The HR head gave me Mr. X to be able to interact with. We had a 3-round discussions with him. He gave certain inputs to me. And based on the inputs, I have now created the structure, which has also been accepted tentatively. Of course, after you give a green signal only, then it will be put into place. but they from a HR perspective and salary perspective, right? And the JD, job definition description perspective, have agreed to this structure being reasonably okay. However, they want me to get some inputs from you so that any ideas that you have that need to be incorporated in them, I can incorporate that also. So what have you done? You have kind of increased, shown that you have been collaborative. You haven't only said that I know everything. You have talked to people. It could very well be. So I had a meeting with my team members, the 3 managers that I had. I also incorporated them. So you are going to talk about your experience based on which you came out with this idea, your expertise based on which you have come up with a solution, and it should be not individually focused. It should have taken inputs from various other resources that you have, right? So for that, we believe there are 4 questions that you need to ask yourself. The first question you need to ask yourself: what might people assume about you when you first meet them and tell them that I'm going to carry out a reorganization and a restructure? So it could be they might assume that I am just another manager only interested in bottom line. I'm not interested in their affair. I'm only financially thinking of improvement. Rather than that, I should talk about their productivity. I should talk about their growth. I should talk about them needing to pick up new behaviors and new skills which will help them in the long run. So the first question is, what motive would people generally have or think about when I go with them to that idea? Then, what motives will people expect you to have? This is assumption, and what other motives they could have. What motives do you need to communicate? So this is what they will think. I need to restructure this and tell them this is why I'm doing it. It is for your good. It is for organization's good. It's going to be helpful. People will be able to work less, get more results. So it has to be talked about from the motive of why you are doing that. And you have to communicate it. You don't have to assume that the people will understand that you're a good person, good manager, and they respect you and trust you. No, you have to kind of express it in that manner. And last is what expertise and experience you have got to be able to have done that, whom have you interacted with, etc., etc., etc. Now, when you have done all these 4 elements, your own expertise, your own experience, and your own motive has been put into context for people to understand. So that caters for what you need to do to increase your credibility and trust. Again, having done that, we then ask you to say, you think about an idea that you need to sell to somebody in your organization, in your real life, and now based on that, you fill up this format that we have given you in the participation manual. So here, this is where the transition is taking place from learning from a case study to application in your real professional life. A lot of people ask me this question, Pawan, do you do case studies in your workshops? I say, yes, we do. But that's not all. After the case study, we say, from this case study, what have you learned and where will you apply in your professional life? I want you to make a plan for that. Because whatever case study I do, if there are 10 learning points, not all 10 learning points would be relevant to every individual. In fact, none of the individuals will have all 10 learning points completely connected to their own personal life. No. So some would take 3, some would take 4, some would take 5, but they will certainly out of 10 be able to have at least 3 to 4 points which are relevant to their real life situation, and that is what I'm interested in them using in their real life. That is where the behavioral change is going to happen. So that completes about me. Now we have to understand the audience. Based on the audience, we have to understand what are their motivations, what are their needs, what are their responsibilities, what are their goals. Because if I go to somebody and say, I'm wanting to do this and this will help you achieve your goal, don't you think the person will be more excited to listen to me? At least right in the beginning to say, wow, it's going to help me achieve my KRA also? Wonderful, thank you, let's talk about it. how the message, how the idea is going to affect them, impact them. And if it's a negative, it's going to be negative for a short term. Like in this case, if you go to the finance head, you are going to be very upfront to say, so it means there's going to be X increase in salary per month that needs to be paid to my team. But over a period of time, because the productivity will increase, our outcomes will be better and the profitability of my team is going to increase. So in around 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 2 months, we are going to not only be able to overcome the increase in the cash that is in the cash that has been put in, but we are going to be able to give back the company better profitability, and hence in the longer run, it's going to be beneficial for finance, for the organization. So this is exactly what you're going to tell the finance head if you have to go to him. So instead of, now if you go to your team members and you say, I wanted to increase your productivity, that is why I've got this idea, people will say, my God, your productivity. Every time people say productivity, it only means one thing to me, and that is, I spent 4 hours in my office today, I need to spend another couple of hours more doing this work. So people will assume it means productivity increase means I have to work more number of hours. So you're not going to tell them this. You're going to say, I have an idea to reorganize our organization, our team, so that each one of us continues to do around 80% of what we are doing, but then we also are able to learn new skills. And that's around 20% of the time you will do new stuff which will help you grow as a professional, and you will learn new skills, which is good for the career growth. Now, am I lying? I'm not lying. I'm actually putting into context what matters to him. Right? And this is the truth. Second is, I explain the benefits of reorganization to your team member in the manner that I talked about, right? How it's going to benefit him, how it's going to benefit the team, how it's going to benefit the organization, how if the organization grows, we will grow. If the organization does not grow, we will not grow. So the entire big picture of the organization growing, also the impact it is going to have on the individual, both are going to be put in context for the person to be connected to it, emotionally getting connected. So again, some questions that you need to ask. Who are the members of my audience? Now, if it's the boss, then you have to write boss. If it's the team member, you write the team member. Your messaging then will be different for the boss and different for the team member. So what do they expect? So what is their goal? What are their expectations? What is expected out of them? Is the next question. Next is, how will my ideas benefit them? So what are the expectations? How will my ideas connect with their expectations of their success? Why are they interested? How do I make that interested? So if it's a boss, my team and my boss, it's my boss who will approve. So now coming to the boss, I know that my boss likes to have a summary first and then he likes to go to detail. That you know the individual well, right? Some people want to get into details first and then get the big picture. Somebody doesn't want the details at all. He says, just give me the big picture. So how are you going to configure it based on what the expectation of that individual is? What does he like? If a person is only finance focused, then I'm only going to focus on finance. If it is operational efficiency that people are talking about and he keeps talking about, I'm going to focus on operational efficiency. Ideas will benefit, performance will improve, and the boost in productivity will lead to increased profits. Right? A boss will always be talking about profitability because he's a business head, P&L head. He needs to be able to meet this profit and loss. So that's where productivity and profitability needs to be connected. Why are they interested? Her own performance rating is linked to the organization performance. So very true. Most organizations, at least at the senior level, a certain percentage of the incentive is dependent on how well the organization performs. So here, in this case, we have said he's a senior guy. So that's going to affect the organization performance, which will also benefit him. What emotions can I appeal to? Perhaps she will get excited by hearing about the new energy and initiative in the team that the restructuring will support. Right? So we are now somewhere connecting at the emotional level also. So it's going to be wonderful. We're going to see a more excited lot. Right? So you're also connecting at the emotional level, not only at the material level, but also at the emotional level. Again, depends on what kind of person, how does he get emotionally connected. Right? Somebody may be a person who wants the team members to have a better work-life balance, let's say. So you want to now connect emotionally to that. So because of this, people are going to be able to not stay beyond 6:30. Till now, people are staying till 8:39. There are so many cases where there have been some issues with families because of the long working hours people are doing here. And as you know, sir, as you have been telling us, work-life balance is very important. So it will meet that requirement. So you have to get to know that emotional element of your boss and then connect it with that. So the first we talked about our credibility. The second is about the person who is going to give us a go ahead, who has to in some manner, who's a stakeholder in this reorganization, because here the team members also, they don't need to give me a go ahead, but of course they are stakeholders. So all the stakeholders, I need to go and influence them to get that final green signal to go about reorganizing what we are wanting to do. So again, what we have given is, we have given a action that needs to be taken by all the participants, all the high profiles in your organization, to convert all this learning to their own situation, based on whom do they need to go to and sell an idea. Right? It could be a very well be a client, right? So they convert all this into their own real life professional application, and that is what we want people to do. Okay, coming to establishing the context. Context is all about providing supporting information, providing data, providing statistics, providing numbers, providing logic. Because in professional life, rational thinking, logical thinking, statistical thinking, numbers are very important for people to understand before they accept an idea. So here you are going to give, it could be a graph, it could be a pie chart, it could be numbers. So you have to give data to people to accept it. So what circumstances led you to this idea? So the productivity was growing, the outcome of the team was not happening. Again, it would be with a graph, 2 people left also, right? So you're showing attrition is more. What supporting evidence do you have? Again, you're going to give statistics for that. What are the counter arguments? What could be some counter arguments people will have? Think about it proactively. And how will you address these counter arguments? The best way is not to wait for these counter arguments to happen. You just say, I thought about these 5 things. Now, out of these 5 things, these 3 things are positive, 2 things. However, there is a challenge here. I've even covered them. And I will be also talking about some ideas that I have, which can reduce or limit or mitigate the impact of these 2 elements on the outcome that we want. This is what I'm going to do to mitigate this risk. Now, when you have done that, anybody who's listening to you will say, my God, this person has really thought about everything, and he's not trying to shy off with certain elements which are not so conducive to this reorganization. But more importantly, he has brought it out on the table. He has also got a plan for it. And maybe at some point in time, sir, I don't have an answer for this. I will need your support and maybe finance support to sit down as a team to decide what can we do about this. So that's all about the context part of it, the logical argument and counter arguments. Again, as we said, person takes this, applies it in his real life, takes an idea that he needs to sell, creates his own structure of ethos, creates his own structure of pathos, creates his own structure of logos, goes out into the real world and applies it. And in our case, what we are doing 2 workshops out of the 22 workshops. How do we say there is an 11th month journey? Because every month they are going through 2 workshops. And with that, they are picking up 1 or 2 elements from there and applying it to their real life so that they can get better, not only in theory, but also in application and practical implementation of what they are. So we all put it together. Again, The next module is how do you put this all together? How do you really create the structure for your own personal role and responsibility? And then we tell them, okay, now this structure has been created. How do you now go and apply this? How do you actually present this? And here, as we said, the first tool that we talked about was the rhetorical triangle. The second is all about how can you get people's attention when you're going and speaking this out. So this is more of how do you, when you are actually, that was the planning part of it, this is the speaking part of it. Again, you need 4 elements of it. We call them, you need to get people's attention and interest, persuade them, and motivate them. So what comes from there is a very well-known tool known as IDEA, which talks about A stands for attention. You have to grab attention of people right at the beginning. You have to ensure that the interest is maintained. I stands for interest. You have to give them some evidence of what you are saying. You need to also meet their desire, right? What their desire is, what is their outcome they want, and you have to ensure that you give an action plan for it. So this IDEA methodology will be all about attract. How do you attract attention? What words do you use? Immediately then you have to now keep that. You got the attention, now you have to keep it. Then you give the end product to say, this is what I'm recommending. This is what I am wanting at the end of this presentation. These are some outcomes that I'm going to present. Now, people are now looking forward to it. Wow, this is how he got my attention. This is what he says. I'm going to move from here to there. And now people are listening to you because they are excited to know how is he going to reach there. Again, you are going to provide evidence, relevant information, briefly summarize the context, data, evidence, statistics. You're also going to appeal to their personal needs. We talked about ethos, pathos part of it, what's in it for them and their own desires, the emotional benefits and the practical benefits also of the person. And this is extremely important. Also explain the consequences of not accepting that idea. So if we don't do this, so what's happening is 2 things. See, a human being gets attracted by 2 things. One is benefit, or let's call it reward, and one is pain. So here you're giving him the reward that is going to accrue to him and the pain if this is not accepted. So both reward and pain, both are given to him. Now he says, okay, this is the reward and this is the pain of not accepting that idea. And finally, we have given again a structure for you to be able to go through this. So key learning points given here. Again, I won't go through this. We have gone through this. So now this is the overall structure of every quick master class that we are going to do in the Professional Growth Club. Now you have got everything for you to be able to go there. You may not need to even go through the entire workshop after that. You need to only take your checklist, pick up the elements. So it gives you a very quick start. Instead of spending 3 to 4 hours, but if you want to spend it, and I've seen a lot of people wanting to go through it because now they know they know the flow of the workshop. They know what's going to come. They have got the overview. See, the human brain likes certainty. They have got the certainty of what the direction is going to take. And now when they see the videos, they are going to now pick up those nitty-gritty elements of it, the smaller elements, and more importantly, they are going to start applying that in the various formats that we have given them, then use the checklist and the weekly planner to apply it in their real lives. Also, there's a quiz test after each of the workshops for them to understand how much they have understood. It's not to mark them on anything else. This is where they craft the action plan. They have a weekly action planner. They have all the checklist available. From here, they pick up something, move it here. And then you have a community through which you keep discussing. I tried this, this happened, this did not happen. So you start not only learning through your own experiences, but also learning through other people's experiences as a group. So that is why this is an extremely powerful methodology for high potentials of organizations, 100 odd high potentials. If you put into this grind, into this journey of 11 months, you will find these 100 high potentials truly getting up to the next level. And the impact this is going to have in your organization is going to be amazing. Also, after they apply this through the community, they keep telling us, this is what I've done, this is what I've achieved. They get a successful implementation. So certification completion for successfully implementing tools and techniques learned from this workshop. So it's an implementation certificate, not a participation certificate. Because we all know, see, we have heard so much, we have done so little. A high potential. And the beautiful part here is every time we get it, we tell the entire other participants also. So if there are 100 of them and 10 of them have done something great and they have achieved a measurable result, we send them a certificate, but also CC it to everybody. Now everybody wants to get that. So people will fast track their own implementation if they have not. So that's the methodology. Now these are what you're going to get in the Professional Growth Club. You're going to get 22 workshops. There are 250 plus Netflix style videos. You have 22 live classes, master classes with me. You have 550 pages manual with all the content, transcripts, tools and techniques. You have 1000 plus points checklist. And I would say people will over 11 months pick up the relevant 30 to 35. So 3 to 4 in each of them to be able to apply it and grow in the areas that they need to grow. Then 150 plus tools and techniques, because there's always a tool and a process which enables learning to be converted to implementation and results. Without a process, you can't achieve anything. So this is our processes that we have given people, easy to apply. Learn, tuck, 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 put it, apply it, learn from it, and keep going through that same sequence. And an online community where everybody is sharing everything with them. These are the 11 pillars that I talked about. This is the kind of videos that you're going to get. As I said, nothing boring about them. So if you really want your high potentials to go through it, you can connect with me at Pavan, PAVAN, at the rate of pmconsulting.in, pmconsulting.in, or you can message me, or you can just write this down, professionalgrowth.pavanbakshi.com/masterclass 123. If you go there, you will be able to put in your name, number, and email ID for us to get connected back to you. Again, as an overview, Netflix style videos and animation is what we are going to give you. Application-based workshops, also live classes, at the same time, unique participant manual with all the transcripts, all the tools. People don't have to make notes, only to write down what the speaker is saying. Most of the workshops you attend, speaker is saying so much that you spend most of the time writing down things. And when you start writing, you miss out on so much more. And finally, specific tools and techniques that people can use to apply themselves. So that brings me to the end of today's live interaction with you. I know it's been mostly one way, and that's the sad part of online training. But once we do these workshops online, we make it more comprehensive, more interactive. So thank you so much. I had a great time. Looking forward to listening to you. Also, I'm sure that you want your high potentials in the next 1 year to truly grow in a more comprehensive way. All the elements that we talked about, 11 growth areas, are areas which are required by every organization in every industry and for people till around 10 years of experience. If these 11 growth areas are focused on, you will find a very comprehensive and holistic growth of your high potentials, and you will have built the next level of leaders within your organization. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you again, and bye-bye.